Here we are, Joey Fatone. You know him. He is literally everywhere. Boyband Confidential, the executive producer.
Yeah.
I mean,
what a nice title. It sounds cool, doesn't it?
Putting EP on your name, was that the first EP credit?
No, I've done other things before, but this is really the one that I've really had a lot of hands on. Me and actually my manager Joe, kind of came up with this idea, and then we of course went to the production company, pitched that, and then obviously went from there and went to the networks. But we really wanted to make it aware that, listen, here's the deal. We want to tell these stories, but we're not trying to put people down. We're not trying to go to the deep dive of, ooh, this is really dark, because there's light sides to it as well. But however, there are dark sides too. But we want to tell the stories, but we want to tell the story in the artist's own words. So we literally sat down with these bunch of artists from O-Town, Backstreet, NSYNC, 98 Degrees, All for One. If I'm missing any, Boyz II Men, bunch of them. So we sat them down and just said, hey, talk to us. Tell us your story from the beginning all the way up until, now and what you're doing. And literally when those stories, they were just talking about stories, and those stories were just starting to come out.
I mean, we'll get into it a little bit more, but for you personally, did it feel like more therapeutic being able to, because for years you just had to keep it within the inner circle amongst family and friends, like, this is how I feel about things,
For me, it's not that the point of getting it out or telling people are very therapeutic. For me, I know it was therapeutic for other people, but for me personally, it was more or less of saying, hey, we're just normal like everybody else. Everything's just heightened.
Right.
From whether somebody commits adultery or divorce or bankruptcy or whatever it may be, it's all the same. I think it is. Meaning it's wrong. Whatever it is in that level, it's not right. And it's interesting how people put things on pedestals and they raise them up, or they bring people down even harder when you're an artist or a celebrity or something like that. It's tough. So for that, I wanted to tell those stories to say, hey, listen, this is what people go through in real life. People go through bankruptcy, people go through divorce, but it's just the way you handle it and how you handle it. And hopefully you come out being a better person. Sometimes not everybody does, or they still fall to addiction, but it's very hard. And I think that's why we did this, or, me and Joe did this, is to bring awareness to say, hey, listen, it's okay to talk about mental health. It's okay to talk about financial debt. It's okay to talk about these things because you might need help and you may not know the answer, or you might not have been educated on certain things. So let's try to figure out or find out or talk to people.
Like the equivalent of, the NBA drafts going on right now, and all those kids going literally from high school, freshman year of college into the professionals with millions of dollars into their bank account away.
And don't even know, has no manager, nothing to do it, or you're going to get people coming in going, hey, I'm going to help you. And some have good intentions and some don't.
Right. So let's start with your upbringing of NSYNC too. I mean, I appreciate you always answering the question about, getting back together, and it's not about that right now. I want to go back to that day, because I remember the statement of when you guys decided to take, which has stuck with me all these years, a hiatus.
Right.
I am still hanging on the word hiatus for. I mean, but take me to that.
We
meeting.
can call it what it is. It was.
But take me to that meeting with like, hey, let's call it a hiatus.
Well, I don't think it really much was. I think later on it became some sort of a hiatus.
Right.
I think it wasn't just because we split. Everybody wanted to do their own things and take some breaks. Obviously, I had my child. Lance was trying to go up into space. Justin was doing his own album. So, and we were all just kind of burnt out in that sense. And I
get it.
Once that happened, we did Challenge for the Children. I think was one of the last things we kind of like sang together, and it was one of the last things we were like, hey man, I think we're just gonna, take a break and not be doing anything for a while. And it was kind of like, okay, does that mean we're done, or we're taking a break?
Right.
And I also thought it was basically a hiatus. So it was around the Challenge for the Children time. It was the Miami one. I can't remember what year that was, but probably 2001, 2002.
Is it that equivalent? Remember those memes of like, you never know the last time you're playing with your best friend outside?
Yeah, exactly. It's like one of those things like, oh, God, okay, it's over. But then it's like, it's interesting because we were young. We were still young at that age. Of course. So we're still trying to find ourselves, still trying to find things. I had a child, again. That was a whole other thing. So it was more or less of, my mind was, dang, I should be financially okay. We're good with this, but I would have loved to keep doing it. But actually, I was kind of like, you know what? This is kind of an interesting thing because now I can spend time with my child. I can spend time with my kid. I can do things. And again, everybody had their own different thoughts. So for me, the only time I can think about it was sad in the sense of, taking that hiatus. Who knows if we were going to get back together? But it was that also the thing of like, now I can do my own thing. I could do different things and individual things that I wanted to do.
That word has stuck with me all those years. The word hiatus.
It might be still a hiatus. We don't even know.
Of course, because you hear hiatus, you're like, all right, they're coming back eventually. Whatever, who knows? I want to talk about the music, though, because several stories just behind the songs within itself. I just recently learned where, you guys weren't even supposed to get Bye 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 as a group. Five, Simon
I
Cowell.
mean, songs come and go all the time, and songs have been submitted to so many other people. We even got Slam Dunk the Funk, which was a 5-song. We got that submitted, and we turned that down. So it's interesting, but there is a lot of songs out there that have been submitted to other people, but then there's also other writers that are like, this is specifically for this group. Or they go, okay, I can see a boy band singing this.
Right,
and they
of
go,
course.
Okay, send it out to 98 Degrees, Backstreet Boys, 5, and all them. So it's interesting to know that, yeah, of course, it was Bye 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 was sent to them first, and then we took it over and
It was
had our own
interesting
spin
to
on
see
it.
Simon Cowell's reaction, though, like when he was doing his documentary with his new boy band itself, and realizing like that was the song. I mean, you gotta get a little bit ha moment, like
Of
a little
course.
yes score.
Yeah,
I got
it's
one
like,
on
thank
Simon.
you. Yeah.
But the origin of that song has the story evolved because it ultimately is the ultimate breakup song as people took it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the story is that you guys, did you have the first Easter egg? That was the, kind of the.
Well,
Lou
once
Pearlman?
we broke and separated from Lou contractually, then it was like, holy cow, this is really good how this falls into that kind of interesting category. And we had a song called No Strings Attached as well, and it just literally kind of fell into place weirdly enough. And it had so many different symbolic things to it in the sense of leaving Lou and cutting our strings and stuff like that. So yeah, it was great.
But I think
we leaned into it.
I think the majority of people are like, oh, it's a breakup song, whatever, bye bye bye. But for you guys, you're like, yeah, that is. But to us, it's something else.
Bye bye bye. Yeah, 100%. I mean, it definitely was that. It was breaking free and being ourselves in a sense.
Now learning about Jason Galasso too. Were you guys originally in sync with Jason?
Yeah. Well, what happened was I was in a group with him. Very short though, but I've known him, since high school.
Right.
His dad was my chorus teacher, so he was a bass in the choral group. And when I was singing with another group, like a couple of guys, I was like, oh, after I graduated, was graduating high school, and I was with the 4 guys, which was Luis Fonzi, my buddy Eric, and this kid Joel. The 4 of us were together, and then we broke up as a group. Then all of a sudden, I met with my buddy Jason and this other kid Drew, trying to get something together, and that didn't work. And then when I went and joined with Justin, JC, and Chris, I brought Jason in. I'm like, hey man, why don't you?
So were you a group of 6 or?
It was no. He wasn't even around. Lance was not even around.
Oh, that's
Lance
right,
was not.
Lance,
It was
yeah.
literally the 5 of us. It was Justin, Chris, JC, me, and Jason. And Jason, we were about to sign the deal with Lou Pearlman for Transcontinental Records, and he didn't want to do it. Jason was like, "Yo, I don't want to do this bubblegum boy band stuff." And even when
And was it Lou? It wasn't the Lou vibe.
it was both. No, it was that, and it was also the contract. The contract. He was 18 years old, so obviously he had somebody
Right.
look at it, and he said, "Hey, I don't want him being a 6th member of an NSYNC because he's going to get a piece of that. I don't want to do that." So those were the 2 reasons why Jason left. And cool enough, interesting in the documentary, going back, and I've talked to him every now and then, but this is the first time I ever sat down with him and said, hey
Right.
man, how do you feel about this? Why did you do this? What was the real reason? And now that things have passed, do you regret doing it? Or do you regret not doing it? And it was interesting to see his reaction and thought process on it. And truly, I still talk to him now, and we're still friends. We're supposed to hang out. We actually kind of rekindled our friendship, so it's been really cool to kind of get back with him. And it's weird. It's like it's one of those things of damned if you do, damned if you don't. And even
Right.
Even ask him, say you got to be kind of pissed off. He's like, yeah, I mean, obviously looking at it and the money and the financial and everything else, that would have been great. But you know what? I'm kind of still glad I made that decision because of where his heart lied in music.
And I'm sure that once you guys went through your stuff back in 2001 with Lou, do you talk to Jason? And
Yeah.
did he hit you up and go, guys? Did he have the "I told you so" moment?
No, it was more or less of like, he didn't even say that actually. It was more or less of, man, congratulations. He was, again,
I know
he's one of those guys that was never that time. And he would tell me flat out, he'd be like, yo, that really, he even said it. It's like, it would have been nice, but it is what it is.
Of course.
But I think, I don't know. It's been interesting to see, like the full circle of even, coming back and rekindle friendship just to hang out and stuff like that. It's really
Of
cool. I don't know.
course.
It's just bizarre to back in the day, it was kind of like we were pissed. I mean, JC and all of us were just mad at Jason and what he did because we were about to sign a deal. We were supposed to move forward. Everybody was hungry for it. And then we're like, oh my gosh, we had to find a bass. But thank goodness
Lance
we
was
got,
there.
We got Lance.
All right, let's talk about the rest of Boyband Confidential too, which I just love this time of music where I think, yes, the nostalgia factor there, but there was that fun aspect that we saw as fans on the outside. Obviously, you guys were going through a hell of a lot behind the scenes too. So what did you learn that you probably didn't even know until you took on this project?
A lot of it, honestly, a lot of the
what
mental
took you
health.
back?
For me, I'm never a depressed person.
Right.
I'm not so much of an addicted person in a sense. I guess my little addictions now and then, I like to gamble, but
and sneakers.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is it's interesting to see and hear AJ's story, and then it's interesting to hear and actually sit there because I've sat with pretty much every one of these guys through every interview. So It wasn't like I just was just like, oh, this is cool, slap my name on it and let's do it. Every interview I was there, 4 or 5 hours, we were sitting there asking questions with these guys. I felt so bad sometimes. And I said, if you don't feel comfortable with anything, you could tell me to just literally F off. Say, fuck off, forget it, don't worry about it. Just move on. Or you don't want to talk about it, and we won't talk about it. But they told us certain stories and opened up. We have so much other footage that we want to put out there, but we're going to try to figure out what to do and how to figure it out.
That extra content.
Because it's tough, though, because there's so many stories, but also I know it sounds crazy, but a lot of people want to hear the darker stories. They want to understand. They want to see this, and there's a lot of them. But the thing is I don't want to. I'm not the type of person that's going to shove something like that in people's faces, but also don't want to overboard people. I don't know. I think it's been nice the way we're doing it, so people are aware of it and they start to understand and just be able to help and actually go and talk to people. I mean, that's really what it's about for me. Because again, I could have been depressed. I could have been this person, but I was never that way. I don't know why. I just never been that. I've always looked the bright side of things. Do I have my sad moments? Of course. But I was aware and found out by these interviews that these guys, and sometimes they needed a father figure. That was another thing. Some of these guys didn't have dads in their lives, so they looked to Lou to be the father sometimes, and that's why it even hurt even more for them, and was more of a dagger for them because they were like, yo, I looked up to you. You were the.
I mean, they had everything there. I mean,
and then you're screwing everybody over. It's like, what the heck, it hurts. So yeah, for me, I don't know, it's a little bit different. I looked at things like I said very differently, and for me, it's like anytime that I've some sort of whatever negativity or something, I will try to find the positive. We will make this positive some way, shape, or form. And hey, and if it's sad, guess what? It's the truth. Shit happens.
Right.
It is. We let's mourn on it, whatever it is, but let's move on with our lives. We can't just keep living in the past.
Right. And but yet make the entire world happy with your music.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep a smile on your face.
Well, again, that's the hard part. Like going through a divorce. I was going through a divorce, not telling anybody what was going on. I was still living with my ex at that time, going, "Hey, everything's great." When I want to freaking go, "What the?" And lose my mind because it's just like we were just not compatible anymore, and things were just going sour. And the same thing with bankruptcy. I almost went bankrupt, and they were like, "Maybe you should file." I'm like, "I don't know about that." And if I do, if it gets out there, people are gonna go freaking,
everywhere.
"Oh, well, he's bankrupt and this and that." And then I start thinking, "Well, damn, if I go bankrupt, that means nobody's gonna probably want me. I'm not gonna get any jobs. How am I gonna deal with this?" So I didn't say anything, and I just kept working and doing what I needed to do, made ends meet, took things around, and just turned it around. I mean, that's it, and just kept it quiet. But again, I like telling the story now because there are people out there in the normal work, but also in the normal workforce that might be going through bankruptcy, that might be going through. There's other ways to try to get out of it by not going down a dark path, is what I'm saying.
The other interesting things I just learned from the other boy bands too, like for me, like Lou Pearlman trying to hold on to what he had with you and Backstreet with O-Town.
Mm-hmm.
For O-Town's first song of their career to be a song called Liquid Dreams and no one have any idea about anything,
right?
Like, that's just mind-blowing to me.
It's just sometimes it's like it's not even sometimes the words that you're really paying attention to. Right. I mean, I'm sure some people are, but you listen to the beat, okay, and they convince you this is going to be the next thing, or this is the hottest thing. You're like,
because you got the producing team.
Yeah, you're like, okay, these people have got hit records. Sounds great. Because there's been multiple times that I know that we've recorded a few songs and we're kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work well. And that's why, honestly, like JC and Justin did a lot of writing and turning that over because we did want certain things and we weren't getting them. So it was like, hey, let's just write our own stuff. And that's kind of where it really started going. But it's always great to have other collabs and produce with other people because you're always getting things from the outside. It's not sounding the same all the time.
What has the reaction been with, have you talked to Nick ever since finding out that, 98 Degrees literally had the, every state what is legal age?
Well, funny enough, like I said, I was there for those interviews. So interesting. There's a group called the Bloodhound Gang, and I know Jimmy Pop. Jimmy Pop actually when they were on tour, they had a pass the same way, but they were a little bit funny and clever. But you got to know these things because nowadays you don't know how old people are. You don't want to fall into something, and they literally had the age of consent of where it's mind-boggling. I don't know why people even thought of doing that, but they did. But on the Bloodhound Gang, their tour dates was the age of consent. It looked like tour dates, but it wasn't. And you go, what?
You guys got a lot of tour dates.
Yeah, there's a lot of it's mind-boggling. I don't. Again, for me, yes, the fame, yes, all this stuff would go, but I kept my head straight on a lot of this stuff, and I knew what was right and what was wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? You just do. I don't know, maybe common sense, but
I just know from because being in radio, they used to have us do all these crazy bits. And when 98 first started out, they literally were in like vans, not tour buses, but they were in vans. And I've had a friend that claims that there was a picture of another band that 98 was up against, not NSYNC,
right,
that they had in the bathroom. Let's be honest. They had Backstreet Boys in the bathroom, allegedly.
Gotcha, yeah.
But 98 to the day, Drew and Nick still deny it, but my friend attests to it because he slept in the van with them.
Gotcha.
I was there. So I mean those little things. Given everybody is adults and mature now, but like, were you guys with Backstreet just head and head at the time before realizing that you were being played against each other pretty much?
Yeah, but I think they kept us separated for that reason. And I think because of what was going on with Johnny Wright, though, and Backstreet, because it was almost like he was starting to obviously be our manager and not so much with Backstreet anymore because Backstreet gave him an ultimatum. So, he kind of went, all right, well, let's make NSYNC succeed. Let's figure this out. And that, I don't know, it was crazy times, but I never saw it that way. Like, meaning, yeah, it was a rival, but it was more or less of going, damn, they had a really good song. We need to figure out a song, or that was a really cool video. Let's do something different that they didn't do. But it was smart because then it was going back and forth, and everybody was doing things original. You know what I'm saying? Backstreet was doing their own thing, even though the songs were very similar.
Right.
But what their path was different, I think, than from ours.
But do you think it was more fan base that caused those tensions?
Well, I think it was fan base. I think it was Lou. Lou was smart, man. He would tell people, hey, Backstreet. I heard Backstreet Boys was saying that NSYNC can't sing or something like that. He would spread rumors around a lot of times when he would go out there in the crowd because people would love him. Oh, Lou, they knew him, so they'd be like, oh, so what's going on with Backstreet? While they're at an NSYNC concert, they'd be like, well, Backstreet's doing this, and he would rouse out that rivalry.
For Boyband Confidential, as people sit down and, what are the more positive, like we were talking about, there are the happy signs that you took away from this yourself, and even with NSYNC and with the other groups that you saw that you want people to also notice about?
Yeah, I think everybody perseveres, and everybody has been talking to people. All these people that have been in there have gone through some sort of thing or wake up. You have AJ where he went on a bender at one time, the last time, in relapse, and then went home, and then his kid literally went to him and said, you don't smell like my daddy. And it literally crushed him and snapped, hopefully, and that's what he's been doing right now. He's been sober the whole time, and you can see that, which is amazing. You can see the clarity of him, where back in the day, things were just a little foggy. He was always saying yes to everything and all this other kind of crazy shit, and it's nice to see him be him. You know what I mean? He finally understands what is what. That's a performance. That's your persona. But let's get back to you. You might go out and party when you're with Backstreet and you're the Backstreet guy, but when you're home, you're your daddy. You're with your kids and stuff. So.
Did you get to know AJ a little bit better going out on tour with him?
Of course, yeah, 100%. We actually really bonded really well, and just we're very similar in a lot of different things as far as performance, showmanship, wanting to get out there, love to perform. Of just about anything, whether it be music, whether it be television, whether it be film, acting, whatever. And I love his passion about that, and I think that's why we get each other in that sense. And that's why I was like, yo, man, let's do something together if you want to. And again, it was no pressure. It's not like we're trying to be number one. We're not trying to, especially when we're doing stuff together, we're not trying to sell albums or anything like that. We're just trying to say, hey, listen, thank you for being out there. Thank you for being NSYNC and a Backstreet Boy fan. We'd love for you guys to come out and do, party with us.
Right.
And it was fun to watch both group fans get together and be together in the same room.
It was a great experience in New Jersey just to kind of sit back and it was that moment. Like, you went back almost 15, 20 years. You felt like you're in high school again, and just an incredible happy times, and that putting that smile on their face and no drama.
No,
and
not trying to. Yeah,
Not
exactly.
having worried about managers screwing you over.
Right. And not trying to be like I have dancers and all this big old hoopla thing. And yes, I love doing that kind of stuff. But this was something that was just fun and stripped down. That we were like, hey man, let's just have some fun with this. And we even had couches on the stage, and we would bring people up on stage and sit. So it was great. You saw it.
Now, I know you already put your take on Bieber's Coachella, but I want to take it as an artist now. Knowing what you went through with your music, do you guys own any of your music?
Little bit of it, but I know that a lot of the guys, like I said, we didn't write a lot of it. That was the only thing that we never really took ownership of, in the sense of I didn't write and then put my NSYNC name on. You know what I'm saying? A few songs we did write, but a lot of them was more Justin and JC, so I never really did a lot of writing in that sense. But however, selling your catalog and doing things like that, now you look and you dive deeper into what Bieber was doing. And I even said, maybe it was good to do that, but I think it seemed that it was a little too long.
Right.
Visually, if you're doing a concert, if you're doing a show, it's, whatever. But very interesting and smart to be able to play that and found that
get
loophole.
around get around the loophole. That's what I was thinking about. I was like, as a musician,
brilliant.
You gotta,
it's gret.
You don't have to pay. And then the production side of it, he got $10 million, a laptop, a USB wire,
thank you,
and a Wi-Fi connection. See you later.
Yeah, I mean, again, I guess for certain fans, I'm probably sure they were pissed off. But certain fans understood what he was doing and going through.
Of course.
So, again, that's why it's great to have those conversations and to hear some of these things. Because at first you think, what the hell did he do? Why did he go on stage with the laptop? That's the dumbest thing I've ever. But then you go and dig into it and you go, okay, now I understand why.
And then almost he had a curated playlist with the chat going, hey, you want to play X, play blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And he goes, all right, enough people are saying it. See you later. Now, the other thing, too, I'm curious about before we wrap up, the current situation of boy bands today with our BTS's December 10, 7 members. Could you envision NSYNC as a 7-member group?
No. 5 is even a lot.
Right, I know. and 7, I don't know if it's the way that people are putting these groups together, thinking there's literally now someone for everyone in the group.
Right, yeah. You got the shy one, the tall one, the short one, this one, that one, this one, that one, and this one. It's great. It's, you know what? I don't know. I think depending on what group or how they're structured, let's be real here. Obviously, some of them are talented and some of them are not. Some of them are great dancers. They may not be great singers. To get the all around is very difficult. I'm just saying. So I think nowadays, like you said, they're trying to get a person for everyone. It's crazy.
I was like, is there a 7-part harmony I've never heard of?
You could do it, but do they do it?
Right.
There's the question. There's a reason why the group was called Take 6, because all 6 were having different parts. You're singing 7 guys and you're singing the same note. You're just unison. That's it. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Good for them, but. For me, it's been an interesting thing to watch the boy bands evolve, and again, nothing wrong with it. But
right,
again, it's just a different generation, and even probably a different genre in a sense. And it's great to see though. It's fun.
Boy Band Confidential. Literally, I was like, where can we just? I know it's on ID and it's on HBO, but then I started seeing literally it's on Hulu. It's on literally you could stream it everywhere, which is great.
Yeah,
and you have more possibly to come down the road.
Yeah, that is correct. We're gonna go hopefully some deep diving into some more stuff. We're already talking about it now, so we're very excited. I mean, the energy and the positivity of this show has been great in the sense of I didn't know about that. People are like, wow, I didn't hear about this story. That's pretty interesting. They feel bad, but they know that the outcome and what's been going on, they see, where they are today, which is great.
Joey, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
No problem.